"Don't forget to be at the banquet tonight," Lisa shouted as she ran out the door. "It really means a lot to my career." "Don't worry, I'll be there," I promised. After finishing my porridge, I put the dishes in the sink and placed my cell phone on the table. Then I went back upstairs to change into comfortable golf clothes. I tossed my golf clubs and shoes into the car and drove off to meet a couple of friends at a course in Kutztown, about 100 miles down the road. We had an 11:30 start on a beautiful fall day. There are some things in life you just can't buy. We finished the game at 3:30 p.m. and went into the clubhouse to eat. I hadn't seen Ted and Steve, two of my college buddies, in a few years, and we had a great time catching up. After eating, we decided to play a few more holes, and as we were having a great time, we finished just as it was getting dusk. "That was awesome," Ted grinned. "Do you have to leave right now? Or can you have another drink with us, Ron?" Have I ever turned down a drink, especially from such an obliging loser? I laughed. "Let's go to the watering hole." We drank a couple of beers, told old war stories from our glory days, and I caught myself thinking I should see Ted and Steve more often. As we got closer to the house, my mood slowly deteriorated. Lisa would be furious when I walked through the door. I would have to deal with her anger and consider the best way to extinguish it. I laughed to myself when I realized I was thinking the impossible. She would be furious. "Where the hell have you been?" Those were her words of greeting when I walked into the living room. "I told you that this banquet was very important to me and for you to remember to be there by 6. "Sorry, darling. The boss sent me to Doyletown. Terrible traffic. I just got back," I spoke, trying to ease the tension. "I spoke to Tom. He was home at 6:30. He said you took time off work and didn't go to work. You also left your cell phone on the kitchen table, so I couldn't contact you." Lisa yelled. "You're a bad liar and a pathetic, vile creature," she continued. "Well, now that we have that settled, I give up, honey," I smiled. "I'm exhausted." Settled? What's settled? At this point, we've determined that you're lying to me. "What about telling the truth?" demanded Lisa. I looked at her and replied, "I was stolen along with my car by pirates. They took me to an old warehouse to hold me for ransom, but some aliens dragged me onto their ship and stuck their probes into my teeth, eyes, and genitals. When they left the room, I was lucky enough to untie the knots in the rope they had tied me with. Then I had to figure out how to steer their ship. I accidentally flew into Scranton and had to hitchhike with a trucker to get my car. But don't worry, I'm feeling pretty good, just a little tired." Lisa looked at me like I was crazy, too pissed off to put words together into a meaningful sentence for a few seconds. "Ron, what are you talking about? Stop bullshitting and tell me why you missed the banquet. You know it was important to me. I got a good promotion, and you were supposed to be there with me. It was extremely embarrassing that you weren't there." Lisa seethed through gritted teeth. "I was playing golf with Ted and Steve, a couple of my old college buddies," I admitted. "They beat me at first, but I beat them by 30 feet on the 7th hole. I've been kicking their asses ever since. This new putter is a work of art. I swear, I've hit a few shots at 300 yards. "Golf?" Lisa repeated incredulously. "You knew this dinner was very important to me, and you played golf? You planned it days in advance, didn't you? So why did you tell me you were going to be at my event if you weren't going to be there?" "I didn't want to hurt you, so I lied a little. I was hoping you wouldn't find out," I confessed. "Wouldn't find out? You didn't want to hurt me? Are you out of your mind, Ron?" Lisa asked. "How could I not notice the damn empty chair, you idiot? How did you not mean to offend me by not attending such an important event for me?" "In retrospect, I realized you had to guess," I admitted, "but at the time it seemed exciting and somehow different. It just happened. I never meant to hurt you. It's just golf, nothing personal." "Are you drunk or something? Did you and your old buddy smoke a joint?" Lisa asked. "You sound like you're out of your mind. I'm too tired to discuss your selfish, nasty behavior tonight, and that you can sleep in one of the old nursery rooms. I don't want you to touch me or even talk to me for a while." No problem, honey. I'll be quiet as a mouse, I promised. Lisa stared at me like I was some kind of insect she'd never seen before. I smiled and headed for Brian's room. Lisa and I had been married for 24 years. Both of our children were in college, and we were adjusting to the empty nest. I climbed into Brian's bed and fell fast asleep, repeating my best beats in my sleep. The next morning I was dressed for work, reading the paper, and eating cereal when Lisa walked into the kitchen. "Don't think I'm done with you, Ron," she warned. "I don't know how or if you'll ever be able to make up to me for yesterday. I think you need to think about that yourself. I'll be working late tonight, so start your penance by cooking yourself dinner." "No problem, sweetie. I can take care of myself," I replied. "Have a good time at work. Have a good day, be happy, don't worry about me, don't take any wooden nickels." Or whatever it was I offered with a steady expression. She looked at me like I had two heads, then turned and walked off to work. I picked up the phone and dialed my work number. I told them I wasn't feeling well and wouldn't be coming in today. I spent the morning shopping and finally saw something I wanted at Best Buy. I ordered the biggest flat-screen TV on the planet. I had it delivered the same day, and everything was set up and working perfectly in time for the evening news. The TV worked so well that I found myself trying to look into the anchorwoman's cleavage. It felt like she was in the room with me. The TV took up an entire wall in the living room, making the closet door inaccessible. But it was worth it. I called a few guys from work and invited them over to watch the first game of the World Series. We ordered some pizza and ribs from a nearby place. When Lisa walked into the room, we were watching the third pitch. To say she looked surprised would be a huge understatement. She was actually at a loss for words. Harry, our accounting guy, saw her, jumped up, grabbed her hand and shook it. "Congratulations on the promotion. That TV is really cool. Old Ron's a lucky guy to have a wife like you," he raved. Thank you very much," Lisa hesitated. "I'm really tired, so I'm gonna leave you guys to watch the game and go to bed." What was that? She really took it well, I wondered, anticipating how angry she might be in the morning. The next day, I was dressed for work, reading the morning paper when Lisa walked into the kitchen. "You're going to get that damn monster out of here and back to the store before I get home from work tonight. Can you hear me, Ron?" Lisa shouted. "I can hear you, honey. No need to raise your voice," I grinned. "I'm not deaf." The door slammed so hard I thought the glass in the windows would shatter. She was hard to understand at times. I was watching Cheers when Lisa walked into the living room that night. "I thought I told you to turn that thing off today," she began. "You said you heard me and that I didn't need to raise my voice. Now I come home and the thing is still here," she shouted. "What part didn't you understand, you idiot?" "I've never understood why Norm is on this show," I replied. "He's not very funny." Foaming saliva flew out of Lisa's mouth as she tried to formulate a coherent sentence. Her face turned crimson. "Ron, listen. Listen to me. I wanted you to return the TV, but you didn't." "I didn't buy this thing to return it, honey. I like it, and I'm gonna keep it. I said I understood the words you spoke this morning. The problem you're facing right now is that I didn't follow your orders, not that I didn't understand your words," I added. It never occurred to Lisa that I would refuse to follow her direct order. This was new territory, and she was caught completely off guard. "What's happened to you lately, Ron? You miss an important event by making excuses, and then you order a huge, and I'm sure very expensive television without discussing it with me. Are you feeling okay?" she asked a little anxiously. "I'm feeling fine, darling. Thank you for asking. I even think it helped me to relax, to enjoy the little things, such as the baseball game and this delightful show called Cheers." "Norm is a little odd, but I'd be happy to have a beer with him," I smiled. "You realize this is going to be a long night if you don't get rid of that TV and get your head straight," she warned. "I'm not ready for a long night, but I like a challenge," I said, now fully enjoying myself. That night, we were standing in front of the flat-screen TV, staring at the image of Norm sitting at the bar, yelling about beer. It was a new reality for both of us. The argument ended when Lisa finally stormed out of the room. I continued watching my show, fully engrossed in the lives of the Cheers characters, and I realized that this was my life. It may be just a small step for the uninitiated, but it was my step toward living my best life.